Nestled in the lush, mountainous folds of northwestern Azerbaijan, where the Greater Caucasus meets the fertile valleys of the Kara River Basin, lies Sheki, a town that seems to have stepped out of a medieval tapestry woven with silk, history, and timeless charm. Often described as Azerbaijan's Silk Road jewel, Sheki is not merely a destination, it is an experience, a living museum where ancient trade routes whisper through cobblestone alleys, ornate wooden balconies gaze over flower-filled courtyards, and the scent of fresh pomegranates mingles with the smoky aroma of grilled kebabs. More than just a stop on the historic Silk Road, Sheki is a cultural epicenter that has preserved its identity against the tides of time, offering travelers an authentic glimpse into the soul of the Caucasus. The story of Sheki begins over 2 millennia ago, when caravans laden with Chinese silk, Persian spices, and Central Asian gemstones wound their way through this strategic highland pass. Positioned between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea, Sheki became a vital hub for merchants, artisans, and pilgrims traversing the vast Silk Road network. Its location made it a natural crossroads. East-west trade routes from Persia and Central Asia met north-south paths connecting the steppes of Russia with the Anatolian plains. By the 8th century, Sheki had evolved from a modest settlement into a thriving commercial center, renowned for its textiles, especially its handwoven silks, a legacy that still defines the town today. One cannot speak of Sheki without mentioning its most iconic architectural marvel, the Sheki Khan's Palace. Built in 1762 by Huseyin Khan, the ruler of the Sheki Khanate, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is a masterpiece of Azerbaijani craftsmanship and Persian-inspired design. Unlike many beyond the palace, Sheki's old town is a labyrinth of history waiting to be explored. Narrow, winding streets paved with smooth river stones lead past centuries-old caravanserais, once bustling rest stops. Sheki's reputation as a center of silk production is no exaggeration. Even today, the town remains one of the few places in the world where mulberry trees are cultivated specifically for silkworms, and where the entire process, from rearing caterpillars to weaving the final fabric, is carried out by hand. Visitors can tour family-run silk factories, such as the famous Sheki Silk Factory, where artisans demonstrate how cocoons are boiled, spun into thread, and dyed using natural pigments derived from walnut shells, indigo, and saffron. The resulting fabrics, lightweight, shimmering, and impossibly soft, are sold in local bazaars as scarves, table runners, and even ceremonial robes. To hold a piece of Sheki silk is to touch history. It carries the warmth of sunlit orchards, the patience of generations, and the quiet dignity of a culture that refuses to be commodified. The region surrounding Sheki is equally enchanting. Just a short drive away lies the village of Yedi Gumbaz, 7 domes, home to a stunning 15th-century mausoleum complex believed to house the tombs of 7 Sufi saints. The domes, rising like golden mushrooms above the green hills, glow at sunset, casting long shadows over prayer rugs and incense sticks left by devotees. Further into the mountains, the Sheki waterfall cascades down moss-covered cliffs into crystal-clear pools, surrounded by wildflowers and the calls of eagles. For hikers, the trails leading up to the nearby peaks offer panoramic views of the Talysh Mountains and the distant Caspian Sea, a landscape so pristine it feels untouched by modernity. Cuisine in Sheki is another layer of its magic. The local food reflects the town's position as a melting pot of cultures. Persian, Turkic, Georgian, and Russian influences blend seamlessly into dishes that are hearty, aromatic, and deeply satisfying. Try dolma, grape leaves stuffed with spiced rice, dried fruits, and minced lamb, served with sour cherry sauce. Or sample ktab, thin pancakes filled with herbs, pumpkin, or ground walnuts, then fried until crisp. No meal is complete without kashlama, a slow-cooked lamb stew simmered with potatoes and onions, traditionally eaten with flatbread and a side of fresh herbs. And of course, there is the wine. Sheki's vineyards produce some of Azerbaijan's finest, thanks to the region's ideal microclimate. Local winemakers still use clay vessels called karas, buried underground for fermentation, a method unchanged since antiquity. What makes Sheki truly special, however, is not its monuments or its cuisine, but its people. In an age of global homogenization, Sheki has retained its soul. Locals greet strangers with open arms and genuine curiosity. A visit to a family home often ends with an invitation to share tea, stories, and perhaps a song. Children play football in the square while grandmothers weave carpets on looms older than their great-grandfathers. There is no rush here. No pressure. Only the quiet assurance that some things, beauty, craftsmanship, hospitality, endure. Tourism in Sheki has grown steadily over the past decade, thanks to Azerbaijan's government efforts to promote cultural heritage sites and improve infrastructure. Yet unlike Baku, the capital's glittering skyscrapers and luxury malls, Sheki remains refreshingly unspoiled. There are no chain hotels, no souvenir stalls selling mass-produced trinkets. Instead, you'll find boutique guesthouses run by families who serve breakfast on hand-painted porcelain and guide guests on private walking tours of hidden courtyards. The pace is slow, the air is clean, and the silence between conversations feels sacred. For photographers, Sheki is paradise. Every corner offers a composition, the reflection of the Khan's palace in a rain puddle, a woman in a colorful headscarf carrying bread from the bakery, a boy riding a donkey along a dusty path lined with lilac bushes. At dawn, mist curls around the minarets of the historic mosques, and by dusk, lanterns flicker to life in the alleyways, casting golden halos over stone walls covered in ivy. Even in winter, when snow dusts the rooftops and the mountains turn white, Sheki retains its allure. The thermal springs of nearby Jarankal offer warm, mineral-rich waters perfect for soaking after a day of exploring, and the smell of roasted chestnuts drifting through the frosty air is pure comfort. Yet despite its growing popularity, Sheki has managed to avoid becoming a tourist trap. This is because its authenticity is not performative, it is lived. The traditions here are not staged for cameras, they are the rhythm of daily life. When you sit in a courtyard sipping green tea from a small glass, listening to the clink of spoons against ceramic, watching a weaver's fingers dance over threads, you realize, this is not a relic of the past. This is a living culture, breathing, adapting, enduring. Sheki is more than a Silk Road stop. It is a sanctuary for those seeking meaning beyond the itinerary, a place where history is not displayed behind glass, but woven into the fabric of everyday existence. It invites you not just to observe, but to participate, to learn the names of the stars from a local storyteller, to try your hand at dyeing silk with pomegranate rind, to taste the sweetness of a fig plucked straight from a tree outside your window. In a world increasingly defined by speed and noise, Sheki offers something rare, stillness. Not emptiness, but depth. Not isolation, but connection, to land, to craft, to community. To visit Sheki is to remember what travel was meant to be, not a checklist of landmarks, but a journey inward. It is to understand that true luxury is not found in 5-star ratings, but in the kindness of a stranger who shares their bread. So, if you seek the soul of the Silk Road, not its ruins, but its heartbeat, come to Sheki. Let the mountains embrace you. Let the silk caress your skin. Let the tea warm your hands and the stories linger in your mind long after you've left. Because in Sheki, you don't just see history. You live it. Thanks for watching.